let's talk about a feeling we all know, one that is just deeply frustrating: decision regret. You know what I'm talking about? That little voice in your head that just won't stop whispering "what if" long after you've made a choice. Well, today, we're going to crack open that audit loop in your brain. We're going to see exactly why you second-guess yourself, even after making a great decision. And, more importantly, how you can finally shut down that what-if machine for good. Okay, let's just jump right in with this really powerful idea. One of the best ways to put it is this: the reason you're miserable after you're making a good choice isn't that you failed. It's that your brain is currently mourning the ghost lives you had to kill in order to say yes. Just let that sink in for a second. Every single yes you say is built on a mountain of no's. Every path you take means there are countless other paths left behind. And it's that feeling of loss for those imaginary lives, those ghost lives, that is at the absolute heart of decision regret. So yeah, let's start right there with this brutal neurological trap. We've all been taught that more choice is better, right? That it equals more freedom. We tell ourselves, if I just research a little longer, read one more review, I'll finally be 100% sure. But the science shows something totally different. Every time you make a choice, no matter how good it is, your brain processes it at some level as a loss. You picked one thing, which means you actively rejected everything else. And your brain does not like being told no. Let's make this super real. Have you ever spent weeks, maybe even months, looking for the perfect laptop, the perfect vacation spot, the perfect car? I mean, you've compared all the specs, you've read every review, you finally pull the trigger, you click buy, and instead of feeling amazing relief, this pit just forms in your stomach. It's dread. And then, minutes later, you're back on Google looking at the other model again. This isn't you being indecisive. It's a textbook biological reaction called post-decision dissonance, and it is a trap your brain sets for itself. So where does that feeling of dread actually come from? And this is what's so wild. It's not because you actually made a bad choice. It's because your brain has secretly built a perfect phantom, a totally idealized synthetic fantasy. And it's comparing your real-world choice to this impossible standard. This phantom is the ghost that's haunting your decision. Now, the biological machinery behind this ghost making is called counterfactual thinking. And it's exactly what it sounds like: your brain's ability to think counter to the facts. It's an incredible tool, really. It lets us learn from our mistakes by imagining different outcomes. But in our modern world, with its infinite choices, this engine of what if just goes into absolute overdrive. And instead of helping us learn, it just starts punishing us for the good choices we've already made. So how does your brain actually build this perfect phantom? Well, think of it like a little mad scientist. As you can see here, your brain becomes a thief. It goes back to all the options you said no to, and it steals the single best feature from each one. It grabs the slick design from option B, the amazing price from option C, and those glowing 5-star reviews from option D. And then it mashes them all together into one super choice, a perfect, flawless option that was never, ever real to begin with. And this, of course, sets up a completely unfair fight. In one corner, you have your real choice. And look, it's great. It has 95% of what you wanted, but because it's real, it has flaws. Maybe a tiny scratch from shipping, or one feature is a little slow. It's real, it's tangible, and so it can be criticized. But in the other corner, you have the imaginary phantom. It has 100% of everything. It's perfect in every way. And of course, it's completely unreal. Your brain is pitting your messy reality against a flawless ghost. And in that fight, reality is always going to feel like a let. So this brings us right to the core of the problem, your brain's audit loop. We need to look at the neuroscience to see how this circuit actually works. Because it's not a single event. It's a circuit that gets stuck in this repetitive, absolutely exhausting loop. You are quite literally over-processing your own success until it starts to feel like a failure. All right, let's break this circuit down. The second you commit to a choice, your orbitofrontal cortex lights up. Its job is to calculate the value of what you just chose. But here's the problem. Almost instantly, your hippocampus, your brain's memory center, jumps in. It starts playing a highlight reel of all the best parts of the things you didn't choose. This conflict sends a red alert to your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the logical CEO of your brain. It senses this mismatch and goes on high alert, frantically trying to find the error in your logic. But it's a ghost hunt. There is no error in your logic. The error is in the comparison itself. The results of this internal battle is something neuroscientists call a reward prediction error. Basically, your brain's reward center, the ventral striatum, was expecting a nice hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical. But since it's comparing your real choice to that imaginary perfect phantom, it finds reality lacking. The reward it predicted doesn't match the experience. So instead of a rush of satisfaction, you get a crash. That empty feeling, that buyer's remorse, that is a reward prediction error happening in real time. So you gotta ask, right? Why on earth would evolution design a brain that seems to hate our own choices? Well, the answer is that this isn't some modern flaw. It's actually an ancient survival glitch. Your brain isn't optimized for happiness, it's optimized for survival. And a critical part of that is being neurologically hardwired to prioritize avoiding failure way, way more than it prioritizes experiencing joy. This is all rooted in a core principle called loss aversion primacy. For our ancestors, think about it, the pain of a loss, like losing your only food source, was neurologically far more intense and memorable than the pleasure of an equivalent gain. In that world, regret was a vital teaching tool. If you chose the wrong path and ran into a saber-toothed tiger, the intense pain of that regret would be seared into your brain, making sure you never made that mistake again. The problem is, our brain is now applying that same life-or-death logic to choosing a brand of cereal. And this right here perfectly illustrates the problem we all face today. We are all experiencing evolutionary lag. Your ancient brain hardware is running on seriously outdated software. It has no idea what the difference is between a low-stakes decision and a high-stakes one. And so it treats buying a new car with the same life-or-death intensity as an ancestor choosing which tribe to join to survive the winter. It doesn't know how to turn off the audit, because for them, being satisfied meant being complacent, and complacency got you killed. So today, you are sacrificing your modern mental peace for a primitive safety audit you just don't need anymore. Okay, so we have deconstructed the problem. We get the phantom, we get the circuit, and we get the evolutionary glitch. So the big question is, how do we escape it? The key, it turns out, is to manually trigger what researchers call your psychological immune system, your brain's incredible and often dormant ability to rationalize and find happiness in the choices we've made once we decide they are final. The very first step is a massive mindset shift, moving away from being a maximizer and becoming a satisficer. A maximizer is obsessed. They must find the absolute single one and only best option. They compare endlessly, which is a direct path to analysis paralysis and, you guessed it, regret. A satisficer, on the other hand, plays a different game. They decide on their criteria for good enough, find the first thing that meets those criteria, and then, this is the important part, they commit. They close the file. This is the direct antidote to the perfect phantom trap. So let's get super practical. Here are 3 ways to break that cycle. First, use the good enough threshold. Before you even start looking, write down the 3 or 4 things you absolutely need. The first option you find that checks those boxes, that's the one. No more searching. This stops the infinite comparison loop cold. Second, practice irreversibility. It turns out our psychological immune system only kicks in when a choice feels final. If you keep the door open with, well, I can always return it, your brain never stops auditing. So mentally burn the bridges, commit fully. And third, apply the focus shift. When those what-if thoughts pop up, don't fight them. Instead, immediately do something that takes up 100% of your brain power, like a hard puzzle or an intense workout. This literally clears the cache and stops your hippocampus from playing that highlight reel of rejected options. And finally, here's a powerful way to reframe the whole thing. Shift your focus away from opportunity cost, everything you gave up, and move it to opportunity gain. What did you gain by finally making a decision? You gained your time back. You reclaimed your mental energy. You freed up your mind to focus on actually enjoying your choice and living your life. Celebrate the decision itself. That's the real victory. So really, the whole point comes down to this. We spend so much energy trying to make the one perfect, right choice, absolutely haunted by the fear of getting it wrong. But what if that's the wrong goal entirely? It's been said that happiness isn't found in making the right choice, it's found in making the choice right. This means you commit to what you've chosen and you pour your energy into making it great for you. That second guessing in your head, it isn't a sign you made a mistake. It's just the sound of your ancient brain trying to protect a ghost life that doesn't even exist. The real power isn't in finding the best path, it's in walking the path you're on and making it your own.